Hi, folks. I'm Sarah Frank Jarvis, art therapist, marriage and family therapist, and today I am here to talk a little bit about the inner critic. Now, the inner critic is something I like to think of as a voice inside of you or a part of you that is a little extra critical of the things you do, of the things you think, things you've said, things you think about doing or saying. And it can be pretty harsh sometimes, in my experience. I like to do an art directive about the inner critic where I capture an image that I make with whatever materials I have on hand. Right now, it's one of my favorite ballpoint pens, and make an image of your inner critic. What does it look like? What is it saying to you? Maybe it's a blob, maybe it's a color field, maybe it's symbols, shapes, maybe it is a detailed portrait. I like to personify mine, and usually it ends up being sort of a caricature of myself, and it's the aspect of myself that tends to be more critical of things I'm doing, thinking, saying, thinking about doing, thinking and saying. Whatever you do, it is going to be the right thing. So join me. I'm going to go through this directive, doing it firsthand, and maybe you can work along with me, or maybe this is something that you'd like to save as an idea to try later. A good time to do this exercise might be if you stop and catch yourself engaging in some negative self-talk or some negative thoughts about yourself, hypercritical, such as, I was buying some coffee this morning, and when it was my turn to place my order, I made a casual joke to the cashier, and instead of smiling or responding as I would have expected, they instead looked at the person behind me and shouted, "Next order!" And I felt embarrassed, and my negative self-talk was something like this: I'm so stupid. How could I say something like that? Or, wow, that really did not land well. This person must think I'm overeager to engage with them in some way. And I caught myself. And the next part would be to challenge this distorted thinking. Am I really that annoying? Is it really that big of a deal? Maybe the person behind the counter is having their own kind of experience this morning that's a little different than mine and not so jokey. Perhaps the person has a different way of interacting with people and the world around them. Perhaps they're neurodivergent. I don't know. So why should I just jump to conclusions and automatically assume that I did something wrong and should feel embarrassed or ashamed? And step 3, reauthor the self-talk, rescript it, rewrite it, make it something that you want to be thinking towards yourself or saying to yourself versus something that you catch yourself shouting or scolding yourself with. And who knows, maybe by catching yourself in the moment or soon after and going through these steps, you might start to notice that you're having a better experience overall in your day-to-day life. I hope it's helpful. I know it's definitely helped me, and definitely wanted to share with you all. So, for beginning an image of my inner critic, I'm going to start with probably just my usual self-portrait caricature of not my best self. So, here I go. inner critic is telling me in this image that I'm not very important, probably not going to be very successful at what I'm trying to do with sharing about art therapy and my process with the world. Why bother? Ugh, should just go to bed, give up. Yeah. Hi, folks. I'm going to continue where I left off in this video, where I made an image of my inner critic, that critical part of myself that comes out sometimes when I'm not feeling at my best. And I'm going to do part 2 of this exercise, which is adding to my image or changing it in some way that feels to me representative of questioning or challenging that inner critical voice of mine. And so I've decided that for this part, this is the drawing that I made last time. I think I'm going to add to it, change it around using some watercolor paints, something I like to play around with. So I have just a pretty basic set that I got from Michael's craft store. I think it was $5. And I've actually really enjoyed using these paints over the years. I use these with groups and individuals in my practice. And I do like the way that they have a lot of color variety, and the paints just work well. I don't know how archival they are, but I have paintings I've done with these that are over 10 years old now, and they still look pretty good. Okay, so I have added to my image with my watercolor paints. And what I like about the watercolor is its fluidity, being able to be surprised by what happens when you put it on a paper and it maybe goes where you want it or doesn't go where you want it. So a little bit of, loss of control, but in a good way, I think. So I just added colors that to me felt either invigorating or uplifting, as well as calm, comforting even. I think the warm colors feel uplifting and energizing to me, and the cooler colors here feel also kind of like a softening, like that transition of twilight between daytime and nighttime, where things just kind of get softer and a little quieter for a while. That to me feels very soothing. So I don't know. It felt really good to do this and to add to this image and be surprised by how it comes out. And I hope this is something that maybe you can try or try with clients or people that you know or work with or interact with. It's a wonderful exercise. Again, I like to do it periodically when I am feeling or noticing that I'm feeling hypercritical of myself or withdrawn, it's a good exercise for me to do. If you enjoyed this video, were inspired by it, made your own creation about your inner critic, or did something different and you want to share it, I would love to hear about it, see it. You can certainly post in the comments or contact me directly. And yeah, I love sharing this stuff. So I will keep doing it. And I hope you have a lovely day. Remember to check in with yourself, notice if you're being too critical, and see if you can shift your perspective a little bit. Maybe have a better day as a result. All right. Bye-bye.